Happy Monday, everyone. Hope you're all well and have had an absolutely fantastic weekend, whilst our colleagues over in America have been enjoying their Thanksgiving weekend themselves. Probably will be a bit of a quieter week this week on the trading floor. I've got a feeling down here in Australia as well. But I thought I'd just take a quick opportunity whilst I have a few spare moments. Not that I get much of those, but that's okay. Yeah, just in terms of taking a look through our site, in terms of the community site, as you probably have noticed in the past, we actually do have an announcements area in the forum. I'll take you through it right now, as you can see as well. So you can easily find it just by going to the announcements area. And right at the bottom of that announcements area, we actually had a poll section a while back. And I do notice that there are a lot of people who actually did want to actually know more about charts in terms of support and resistance areas, those kind of things. So I thought I'd take a few spare moments and go through a bit of that. So let's get into it. I've taken a few charts from recent times. I've taken 3 of those in particular, and also 3 from right now, which people might want to have a bit of a look at and keep an eye on, maybe even over this week and perhaps even over the next couple of weeks to see what happens with those too. Just to illustrate a few points that might be handy for a few of our members, and hope that actually illustrates a few interesting areas to take a look at in general. Now, it's this is a really interesting chart, and this was actually quite topical, even on a couple of other forums in particular in recent times. This is a company called Mesoblast. Now, right from the get-go, a lot of people do know I'm actually in the pharmaceutical industry, so I will need to actually write a bit of disclosure in relation to this particular company. In terms of pharmaceutical companies, I actually don't invest in them personally myself, apart from my own shareholdings in Amgen, which is the company I'm actually working for myself personally. There's a lot of insider trading aspects that you need to be very, very careful of, no matter what industry you work in. And I'd highly recommend that anyone who works in a particular industry be very, very careful with what they do invest in. That's just something there is an added interest. And of course, anything I do discuss in any of these videos, of course, do get financial advice on. Of course, this is not financial investment advice of any nature. I'll open that up with that disclosure as well, and that disclaimer, and that'll be at the end of the video too. But in relation to this particular company, I haven't had any involvement directly with them, but even as part of my postgraduate studies into a PhD, I did actually have correspondence with Silvio Itescu himself in the past, a potential project, but nothing actually did eventuate from that because it did not line with my research interests. So that's just putting it all out there. There is no financial interest or any professional interest in relation to this company. It's purely from the charting aspect, and any investment in pharmaceutical industries in themselves there are clearly documented. Should I actually be involved in any of them there, which I avoid anyway because it makes things very, very clear. So just in terms of putting any disclaimers out there. This is a very interesting chart for a number of reasons, which I'll go into in terms of support and resistance areas. It might look very, very convoluted and very confusing at first, but when you do break it down, it is fascinating. It really is. Now, for those who are looking at this, they might look at it and they go, oh, where do I start? Okay, well, firstly, this is a candlestick chart for those who are unaware. I love using candlestick charts because it gives you so much information just at a first glance. And I'll show you the reasons why. Now, I'll take a look at this particular candle here. You can probably see that from the cursor just pointing at it. Now, this particular candle here was from the 27th of April, and I'm going to enlarge it so you can really see what it means. And I'll just enlarge it, and then I'll actually scoot across to it. So in terms of this particular candle here, you can also see the data at the top, and I'll just highlight where I'm looking at up here for you as well. Now, if we highlight that particular candle again, you're going to see what it actually constitutes. Now, the candle in itself is made up of 4 different segments. It's made up, firstly, of where it opens, and that's, in this particular case, it's a red candle. So it basically means it was a bearish day. It opened up here, So in terms of opening up, it was opening up the value of $4 on the chart itself. And then basically at some stage during the day, it actually went up all the way up to here. And that went as high as $4.45 in that particular day. Then what happened, it actually traded all the way down to the base down here at $3.66, as you can see from up here, up at the top up here. And I'll hold it back down there. It traded down below to $3.66. And then it went back up to here and closed at $3.85. So you can see the value of candlestick charts in showing you so much information all in one candle, and this is on a daily chart. So that's the reason why I like the candlestick charts so much. A lot of information all presented in one go. The same works for other candles where it actually has been a bullish day, so where the actual price has risen in the day as well. And you can see that from the day before. So same kind of thing there, except in the bullish day, basically with that one, you can see it's a green candle instead. So with that particular green candle, it's opened lower, opened to the bottom part here. So opened $2.47, as you can see from the top there. But sometime of the day, it's gone down to $2.32, and then it's gone as high as $2.83, and then settled to close at the end of the day at $2.73. So you can see a lot of information in terms of the length of the body, the length of the wicks, especially in terms of that particular candle up here. And the length of the wicks really gives you a good indication of how much the market drags back, especially shown in that particular candle there. But I just wanted to take everyone through that really, really quickly, especially for those who are just beginning to see charts. And I wanted a bit of an explanation as to what's going on with that. Okay, I'll drag it back outwards here to really illustrate some of the ideas of support and resistance. Now, one really, really big key area of support and resistance in this particular chart is actually over here. So what I really like that people really think about quite a lot when it comes to support and resistance is think of it a little bit like ceilings and floors in an apartment building. That's probably one way of thinking. If you're actually in an apartment, what you're going to have is you're going to have the floor that's beneath you, and you're also going to have a ceiling that's above you. Now, if you imagine both of those ceilings and floors to be glass, if you actually hit your head on the ceiling and you're able to break through that ceiling and climb up through that ceiling, you would then climb up above that ceiling and get to the next floor. When you stand up on that particular ceiling that you've just climbed up on, that is now your new support level. If you then aim to climb up to the next floor and able to break through that particular ceiling, that is then your next support level when you actually break up into it there. But if you fall through that particular new support level, then you would actually fall down to the previous support level there. And that's pretty much about the basis of everything here. Let me illustrate it on the chart. So here, the price ran all the way up from $2, basically back from, as you can see from up at the top here, when I'm looking at dates, I'm looking basically up here at the top. So when it's come from about $2 down here, back in December of 2019, run up all the way up here into around about end of January 2020, and it's run all the way up here, and then it's really found a bit of a problem up here. I'm going to enlarge that now as well. I'm going to drag it back and you can really see what's happening. Okay, because this is the area we really want to focus on for now. So it's run from $2 all up to here, closed solidly here on this particular day on the 23rd of January at $3.07. And the next day, the market was a little bit indecisive, didn't know exactly what it wanted to do, and still closed at $3.07 on the 24th of January as well. That is basically where it's really, really hit hard and said, right, don't know exactly what's going on at this point. That is literally finding itself at a resistance point overall. And that really got proven later on down the track when it couldn't actually make new highs after that. that has basically formed a resistance point at that point. Okay. Now, if we bring that back out again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to now put a line at that point. And we're going to make sure that's solidly at $3.70. Now, looking at all of this, you can really see what's happened all the way through. It's basically tried to get through that $3.07. It's failed a number of times, and then it's just bounced. Come up, tried to get up to it again. I'm going to enlarge this area again. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom on this area here so you can see it clearer. Okay. It's basically come in there, try to bounce, come down, try to get up there, hasn't come there, and it's just fallen to pieces after that. Okay. Made a bit of a run up and up and up and up and up. Come back down again. Now, so it had a really, really good kick there. There might have been an announcement. You can see the volume down here is actually really picked up that particular day as well. So a lot of activity that particular day. And then interestingly, the following day after that, it's just shot right through. Okay. So shot right through that resistance area there. And that was actually a really, really good day for this particular stock there. Okay. Interestingly though, following day after that, came back down again, and it's now testing. So imagine, like I was just saying before, it's shot up the next level of the apartment, and now it's come back down to actually see what it can do. And actually, it's now basically landing on the new floor, if you want to call that, to test support. And it's actually been successful in testing that support. Bounced off that support, come back down and test it again, and now it's actually finding its feet, and now it's going okay. So from that point onwards, it's now been a successful test of the support. I've just zoomed back out, successful test of the support, and now it's going okay from that point onwards. So that is what they call a successful test. It's come back and actually tested it again at this particular point here on the 29th of June. Come back on. It's really, 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 it's really just going sideways really for most of that particular time. Come back and tested it again, another successful test, and then look what it's done. Shot right out. So that is a really, really interesting chart in itself to really illustrate what the actual situation is here. If you take a look at it up here as well, have a look what's happened here on that particular bar that I actually highlighted before. This one here, that was such a very, very strong situation overall. You could actually draw a couple of resistance lines here if you wanted to. I'm not particularly a person who likes drawing resistance lines up here on the top of the wicks, but you know, some people do. I'd much prefer to put a resistance line here at a solid point, but some people do prefer to put them up here. So you could really put resistance lines at different areas. It can be a bit of an art more than a science at times. But here would be a resistance point that I would put personally. Now that would be the open actually, so it's $4. So the resistance point there. There's one there. So interestingly, you can see that it got tested there at that point here as well. I'm going to highlight that. Actually, we'll put a resistance point at the top there anyway too, so $4.45. Oops, that didn't work too well. We'll try that again. $4.45. Okay. And now you can see things really forming through on the chart overall. Just enlarge that just a tad so you can really see what's going on. Okay, so you can really see how the stock is actually bouncing around a lot all the way through all of this, and you can get a real flavour as to how the actual stock is behaving in relation to these support and resistance lines. So it's bouncing around them, it's really testing and seeing how all of these are occurring with the support and resistance, and you can really see it around here. So I actually did test that. That actually did respect that as a resistance line here at the 445 mark at this point here before bouncing up with it, and then I actually respected it here on the test of that as a support, and even there again there too. So, and then really, really importantly, this was the time of that announcement that everyone was really, really going on about, especially on one of the other boards, the ASX forum discussions, where they were saying, oh, there's going to be this big announcement and everything going on. And it just fell to pieces. And where did it fall to pieces at exactly which point? Right back here at $3.07 support level. And from that point onwards, it actually went up throughout the day at $3.07 and went as high as $3.54. So a lot of people were saying, should I buy now? Should I sell? What should I do? Let the market tell you exactly what to do. Look at the volume that particular day as well. Okay, the volume there was absolutely huge. It went up, yes, it certainly did, but what did it do afterwards? It went up and then the whole stock just trailed away shortly afterwards. Let the markets tell you exactly what is going to happen. It will. It will tell you based on exactly what is going on. Trailed away, bounced off that support level once again at that particular point here, went up a little bit, came back down. It's been testing that support level ever since, trying to find what it's going to do. Once it did, off it went again, and then came back down, and now it's trying to actually test again at this support level once again. Will it hold at the $4 level at this support level now? Because this is today. Now, that was Friday's close right now. Will it hold at this support level now, or is it going to trail off again? Who knows? Let the market tell you exactly what it's going to do and then act accordingly. So that's Mesoblast. But hopefully that actually explains in terms of support and resistance levels. It gives a good example of something that's been in the past and could even potentially have something going on in the future as well. Esports, ESH, has been another one that's been of interest to a lot of people too. And you can really, really see support and resistance levels coming along here as well, even looking back as towards the end of 2020. Okay, I don't think I really need to show it too much overall with these ones here, but you can really see support and resistance channels. I can draw a couple of lines for you if you really, really want them there. But you've got one right there. You've got another one here. There. But really, these are smack bang on the lines here. I don't even need to draw them because they're actually glittered. It is that clear. But the interesting thing about this one in particular is there is actually a support line smack bang here. I'm going to do this one at that point there. And don't believe me, take a look at this. We'll highlight it a little bit more. And this one is currently in play right now. So a lot of people have been really debating about this one, but you can really see how clearly it's just been bouncing and bouncing and bouncing directly off these support and resistance lines all the way through. And there's actually another support line I can just see right there too. That's right here. So you can really see quite a lot of these very, very clearly. But this one here at 0.019 is really, really interesting because that's currently 100% in play right now. Reason being is that basically shot right through at that particular point, but really found its support right here on this particular day here, being the 26th of 10th. It came back down, but everyone on that particular day, it opened up at that level, and that is, the open, as you can see on that particular box, 0.019. So that is your open day, and it just shot up like a rocket on that particular day there, and then it just trailed away ever since then. Came back, tested that support, bounced off it, tested it, bounced, test, and then it fell through the 24th, which was last week. So it's fallen through, it's broken that support level there, come back up, and actually on Friday, this was after hours on Friday actually, or at 4:10 p.m. So after hours, it actually closed exactly on 0.019 throughout the entire day. That it hadn't been trading there all there. I actually was looking at it that day for some reason, I don't know why, but only after hours it actually traded at 0.019. So this will be a very interesting one this particular week in terms of the play. So definitely keep an eye on that one, but I do suspect that probably will actually, if it doesn't get saved um, over the next couple of days, that may actually come back to probably test the 0.016 as a suspicion. St. Barbara was an interesting one a while back that actually had a very interesting formation a while back. You can probably look through on the forums as well. But that one there had, just trying to think back as well, some really, really interesting support levels and resistance levels here as well. As you can really see here, this was your key area back on the 29th of May, because it really tried to bounce up, bounce up, bounce up, bounce up. And this here can be identified as your key driver. So the high of that particular day is the 325. So what we'll do is we will draw a line there and we'll solidify that correctly. See where it bounces off. So let's just enlarge that now a little bit more. 325. So you can see right here, it's come up, come up, come up. Here was where it really formed its resistance level here, trailed away, went back up. It actually was solidly broke through, but it was a false breakout at that particular point in time. Fell back through, and then it actually broke through and did quite well. It did very, very well, actually. It got as high as $3.98, and then just fell away, just fell to pieces completely. But came back down and actually was successful in its test of that support at 325. Went down to 327 and then just bounced back off. So a lot of the traders actually saw that, said, okay, now hang on, we're not going to allow that to fall through. Came back down, did the same thing here as well on the 12th of August. Supported it, went back up, and it's just went sideways since then. Came back down, another successful test, and another successful test here on the 11th of the 9th. But what happened here? This particular day on the 21st of September broke through support completely, and that's it. Ever since then, it has absolutely failed. Tried to test it up here, and then it's just fallen completely to pieces all the way through. So these kind of things will give you a good indication of what actually does happen in the markets as well, and very, very important key areas to really look out for. Okay, so they're the three examples in terms of support and resistance to keep an eye out for from the past. Mesoblast is something to keep an eye out for future, the same with esports as well. This one with St. Barbara, whether that's going to continue in terms of the downtrend or not remains to be seen, but just watch to see what the market does. The three to look out for this week and perhaps even over the next couple of weeks, these ones have been very, very interesting. De Grey Mining, this was one that actually had a consolidation triangle pattern occur earlier last week, and saw this one coming up. This is a pattern that actually been established since, what was it, June? Yeah, June of this year. And as you can see, there was a long-term uptrend that had actually been established there. So basically, there were a couple of points here, and then it just kept on bouncing off them. So this one, these here had been established there firmly there, and then this, you could actually draw that line from these 3 points here, extend it onwards, and then it actually bounced directly off that line there as well. So that was quite interesting there. But interestingly enough as well too, you actually draw another line, you can see that in the faint green on this one, and you can bring them down, and it was actually converging together. Now with that triangle pattern, I'll just enlarge it so you can really see it a bit clearer. With the triangle pattern, they can break out either to the upside or to the downside. So you have to be very, very careful with those, and sometimes it's best just to wait and let them play out. But in this particular case, it broke to the downside, and that was towards the end of last week, actually in the middle of last week, I should say, and broke to the downside. A couple of the other forums, everyone said, what's happened to DEG? There's been no announcement what's going on. This is what happened. It's been a long-term play, sitting there for quite a while, and when these break, they break. This one here, overall, it broke pretty massively. This line down here, this 106, is something I only put in after the effect. So I'm going to remove it for now, and I'll show you the reason why I put it in afterwards. But I'll remove that for now because it's actually giving me a clue. But this is basically what the formation was, and then it happened from that point onwards. So it broke out of that triangle there. So it broke, and like that particular clue was given you in terms of the 3rd of November, this 3rd of November here, you can see in terms of support and resistance areas and everything that was going on here, this here was your previous level of support. It actually bounced back down, and it was $1.10 at that particular point in time, that close here, before everything shot back upwards. Now, that $1.10 is your key support area. This here broke that $1.10 support because it actually closed below it. So that's the interesting area there overall. So when you're looking at it there, that $1.04 was your first break, and then this here is then your break after that. So really, the $1.04 break there, this was your new support because that's where everyone decided to come back into the market, and that overall there is $1.06. So that is your new support level at that particular point there. So $1.06 is now your new area of support there. So if I actually now open up that price chart again so you can actually see it all clearly again. There we go. And you've now got that $1.06. Will now act as a resistance area because it was a previous support. So that's why I've been saying in the daily updates to keep an eye out now for this now $1.06 resistance, because that was your previous support level. So yeah, have a look at that and see what happens with that over the next week or so, because that looks as though now it's actually going up there to test that new resistance area. Now it could shoot all the way through. Absolutely. If it does, well then that will, because it's the current resistance, that will then act as a potential support level that comes back down and tests it. And if it does, well then that's great. But then be very, very careful, because this whole slanted area, right? This slanted area here, which was previous support, is now resistance. Much the same as when you break through the ceiling, it then becomes support. Okay, so supports become resistance when you break through them. Resistances become support when you break through them. So very, very interesting things to keep in mind. Okay, next chart. Appen. Now, this is a very, very intriguing one right now, and this is currently in play at this point. You take a look back here. This is the most important thing to take a look at here, because it's all really, really clear in retrospect. They say hindsight is 20/20, and it really, really is, especially when you're looking at charts like this. And the big thing with Appen right now, when you take a look at it, is it's had a great run up, okay? And then what have we got here? This is a firm close here at $32.02, and it couldn't break through at that particular point. But everything else has been going around that area. So we really do have a firm support level here. So $32.02 is an area I'm going to draw a line. You're going to see it become really, really clear at this point. So put that line in, $32.02. Okay. Now let's expand this to make it clearer. $32.02 is your support area. As you can see, it went there, was a resistance at that stage here, tried to bounce up and get through it, didn't, failed. Got through up here, yep, okay, fantastic. Got through, now it's acting as a support level. Went really, really well, went as high as 43.66. Good performance. Came back down. Okay, what did it do here? Tested, bounced back off that support level. Okay, no worries. Went back down, tested, bounced off it. Okay, yep. What's it doing now? Okay, these are the questions you've got to ask in terms of support and resistance. What is it doing now? Right? The indicators themselves, momentum indicators, appear to be showing some strength to the downside. Okay, this is the thing. But we need to see how it's going to react to this now resistance line, because it's actually trading below that resistance line. It closed below the resistance line. Closed below it on Thursday, 31.78, and it's still closing below it again on Friday, 31.10. So now it's a matter of seeing what it's going to do. Is it just going to shoot down below? Is it going to bounce back up and test the 32.02? Or is it just going to shoot right back up and do that? Or is that going to be a false break back above and then shoot back down? A matter of sometimes sitting back, observing, and watching and waiting. So that's happening. Okay, so let me just bring that back like that. Woolworths. Now I know Lonnie's actually mentioned this as well, whether to actually buy into Woolworths or not. Maybe this might change our mind on this one overall. Well, let's have a look at this one too. You notice any similarities? Have a look at the tail end of this. That's Woolworths. That's Appen. Interesting, isn't it? Okay. So this is another very, very intriguing one overall too. Big thing with this one, in terms of Woolworths as well, and I'm to tell you the truth, I'm actually just noticing this one. Look at this. 10th of November. Massive, massive, massive bearish day right there. Okay. This day here is getting mighty close to the base of that bearish day. So actually closed 37.56 on Friday. Base of that, well, the low was actually right smack bang on it, 37.56. The close was 37.64. Okay, so these are the kind of things to really keep in mind. Now, if we just scan back outwards again, what are we looking at in terms of all of these support and resistance lines? This here is one of your key areas. Notice how it's come back up. We had a nice run up here, and then it went back here, and then oof, that's it. We're finished. We're not going any higher at this point in time. So the close up here was 37.94. Drawing a line there. So much fun this can be. Yeah, I'm a nerd, sorry. Okay, 37.94. 94. Does this make everyone think twice about buying into Woolworths right now? Okay. All right. Once again, not giving financial advice here or anything like that, but I just want to open people's minds up to think about things that can get in the way of when you actually want to purchase something. Okay. So here we go. It's at least something to consider. That's the way you've got to look at things overall. Everyone can get very, very excited about certain things at times and things as well. This is something to really just keep in mind because market forces are out there and they do have an impact on things as well. So with this stock in particular, had a great run, absolutely. It's tried to test it on this day here, the 12th of June, failed to get back any higher. Come back down, gone up, come back down, gone up. Yep, oh, great, okay, no problem there at all. Come back down, successful test of that new support, because it was a previous resistance over here, new support at this level here. Come back down, support, yep, test that support, yep, everything's fantastic. Gone on, yep, okay, great, no worries. Made new highs at $40.79 compared to that support level of $37.94. Brilliant. Then it's trailed away. Okay. Come down, tested the support successfully, gone back up, testing the support here, failed. Come back down, boom, 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 boom. Gone back up, testing the resistance now, and started failing and trailing down again. Come back up, testing that resistance again. Took a couple of days, but succeeded. Did it last long? Just crabbing along after that, but then it failed miserably on that day. Ooh, okay, what's it done since? Gone sideways, gone sideways, gone sideways, gone sideways. I've had it on my watch list as a wait and see for quite a while, and now it's finally broken in the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, until the last 2 trading days. What will it do from here? We don't know 100% until we actually see the action. But this is something to keep in mind, whether or not it will actually break down further, like we were discussing with Appen a few moments ago. Could go further downwards. It could come back up and test that support level again, or it might just shoot off in the distance upwards again. Anything's possible. Let the market tell you what's going to happen and then work from there. All right, I think that'll probably do me for now, but I hope that's helped in terms of at least showing some ideas about support and resistance. Feel free to leave some comments down below, and we can always address some additional information there as well. And might just go into some more details about momentum indicators in the future as well. As you can see, probably a bit of a teaser, actually, more than anything else, as to what you can look at there. Both Appen and Woolworths in particular, there you can see the momentum starting to increase to the downside, and we can go into that a little bit more detail in the future as well too. But if there's anything else in particular you wish to go through, we'll go through some of those a bit more in this particular series of getting to the heart of it all. I hope that's been useful for you. Feel free to let me know either here or back in the forum as well, and look forward to hearing your comments. Other than that, have a great trading week and see you in the forum.